Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Wynna Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. China's official news agency says President Xi Jinping will attend the handover anniversary, but gives no details. COVID cases in Hong Kong stay above 1,000, but officials say there are enough hospital beds for the severely ill. And the highest U.S. court overturns the constitutional right to abortion, triggering widespread protests. President Xi Jinping is set to attend the swearing-in of Hong Kong's next government and mark the 25th anniversary of the handover. But details have yet to be revealed as Hong Kong continues its anti-COVID efforts. Maisie Mock reports.
This morning, the Xinhua news agency ended weeks of speculation on whether a state leader will be at the handover anniversary. It said President Xi Jinping will attend a meeting celebrating the 25th anniversary of Hong Kong's return to the motherland. The official agency added that Xi will also attend the inaugural ceremony of the sixth-term government of the Hong Kong SAR. But no dates were announced, unlike 5 years ago when state media reported that Xi would officiate at the swearing-in of Carrie Lam as chief executive. During the 2017 visit, Xi spent 49 hours in Hong Kong and took part in 20 events. Lam, whose term ends next week, issued a statement saying Xi's forthcoming participation fully shows the importance that the central authorities attach to Hong Kong, as well as their support for the city. John Lee, who will succeed Lam next Friday, expressed his delight over the president's attendance. He added in his statement that Hong Kong is currently at a crucial stage of transitioning from chaos to governance and gradually towards prosperity. There has been concern whether a state leader would visit Hong Kong because of the COVID situation. Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Eric Tsang and incoming Chief Secretary Eric Chan were both diagnosed with the virus earlier this week. Senior officials and lawmakers invited to handover events have to observe a closed-loop system and travel only between their home and workplace in the week before the anniversary and get tested daily. News organizations can assign only one representative each for handover events. They have to stay in a designated hotel for 2 nights before the event. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Hong Kong's COVID caseload has stayed above 1,000 for the 11th day in a row, but the authorities assured that there are enough hospital beds for those with severe symptoms. Isaac Lee reports.
New COVID infections eased today, but remained in 4-digit territory. There were 1,794 cases, of which 1,680 were locally transmitted. The BA.2.12.1 cluster in Two Moons Victoria Harbour restaurant expanded to 40, with 3 additions today. 2 were workers from the Fu Tai elderly home in the same district. 10 residents and staff members from the care home had earlier tested positive, but the Centre for Health Protection suspects that the transmission began in the restaurant. With a rise in the number of patients, health officials were asked whether public hospitals will be overstretched, as was the case when the 5th wave peaked in March.
At the moment, we have 190 confirmed cases in our isolation facilities, and the majority of them, 163, are in the Hong Kong ICC. For the rest, Two Moon Hospital have around 30 confirmed cases, and a few hospitals have around 20. At the moment, our capacity can still capable to manage the confirmed cases.
Earlier today, Hospital Authority Chief Manager Lau Ka-hin said if more than half of the patients in a public hospital have COVID-related conditions, it may stop admitting people with other diseases. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
Macau registered another 80 COVID cases, taking its total in the current outbreak to 190. The latest infections were confirmed after nearly 670,000 residents took PCR tests up to midnight last night, People have to take rapid antigen tests today and tomorrow and upload the results to the city's official health code website. 8 clusters have been identified, as most entertainment venues stayed shut. Another 15 buildings were sealed off following the latest cases. Macau also detected 2 imported asymptomatic cases, one each from Taiwan and Manila. Former Hong Kong officials have urged the incoming administration to open its international border and tackle livelihood issues.
We have closed our border with the rest of the world for over 2 years now. If we continue this policy for too long, I'm concerned that our position as an IFC may be affected negatively. I think we need to preserve our position, and opening the border with other countries other than mainland is very important.
Ma is hopeful that the new government will consider reopening the international border, even if it is unable to resume quarantine-free travel with the mainland. The city's first Justice Secretary, Elsie Leung, said urgent matters such as housing and wealth disparity should be dealt with before pushing for constitutional development. The Hong Kong Journalists Association has lowered the threshold for dissolution, but it says there are no plans to disband at the moment. Chloe Feng reports.
At its annual meeting this morning, the Hong Kong Journalists Association amended its constitution to allow the group to be disbanded with the approval of 50% of its members instead of 65%. But Ronson Chen, who was re-elected chairman, said there are no plans to disband for now.
There are still millions of Hong Kong people. We think they have still have needs of the facts, truth, etc. So we think that our journalists should stand firm in our post and trying to provide more and more facts and news to the Hong Kong citizens.
Chan's remarks came as the city's press freedom ranking plunged to a record low of 148 among 180 places, according to the global media watchdog Reporters Without Borders. Following the closure of media outlets Stand News, Citizen News, and Fact Wire over national security concerns, the Journalists Association has come under pressure, with the government launching investigations into its finances and social media usage. Chen said he hopes the incoming administration will open up and communicate with the union. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Police have arrested 3 people and seized various items, including shields, helmets, air guns, and gas masks. One of them is a 22-year-old man who is suspected of spreading online messages to attack government officials and police officers. Another 22-year-old man allegedly sold gas masks online and urged people to join illegal gatherings. The 2 men are still being detained, while the 3rd suspect, a 14-year-old boy, was released on bail. He is alleged to have sold items such as batons. Overseas now, protests have erupted across the United States after the Supreme Court ruled that there is no constitutional right to abortion. The ruling, which allows individual states to decide on abortion, comes nearly 50 years after the landmark case of Roe versus Wade. There were cheers and jeers outside the highest U.S. court as it overruled Roe versus Wade. The opinion came as no shock to most Americans after a document leaked in May gave a glimpse of how the panel of 9 judges would vote. Writing the court's majority opinion, Justice Samuel Alito said the U.S. Constitution makes no reference to abortion. He called Roe egregiously wrong from the start, and its reasoning exceptionally weak with damaging consequences. Alito also said instead of bringing a national settlement on abortion, it inflamed debate and deepened division. Alito was joined by 4 fellow justices: Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and Clarence Thomas. In his own concurring opinion, Thomas said the court should also reconsider its previous rulings on contraception, same-sex relationships, and same-sex marriages. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote his own opinion, saying he wished the court would have taken a more measured course and that the overruling was a serious jolt to the legal system. Opposing the move, Justices Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan wrote, "With sorrow for this court, but more for the many millions of American women who have today lost a fundamental constitutional protection, we dissent." President Joe Biden called on people to use their voting power and insisted the fight is not over.
The court literally taking America back 150 years. This is a sad day for the country, in my view. But it doesn't mean the fight's over. Let me be very clear and unambiguous. The only way we can secure a woman's right to choose, and the balance that existed, is for Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade as federal law. And if Congress, as it appears, lacks the votes to do that now, voters need to make their voices heard.
About half of U.S. states are expected to ban abortions following the ruling. States where abortion is still expected to be legal are now gearing up for more visitors following the ruling. But there are fears authorities may make it more difficult for patients to travel across state lines. Protesters in America came out in hordes following the highest court's decision that abortion was no longer a constitutional right. From New York City to Los Angeles and every major city in between, pro-choice activists made their voices heard.
I was really sad. I cry a lot because it's not good decision. This is the slavery for the women of all country. When I was young, I was raped. I was pregnant for that rape. I couldn't choose. So I left the school.
But in an equally passionate show of emotions, those from the anti-abortion movement also celebrated what they considered a major victory, demonstrating just how contentious the issue is in America.
I was crying tears of joy when I found out. This has been by far the best week of my life. It's just, there's now hope for the women and children who have been hurt and killed by abortion. We still have a ton of work to do to get all the states to ban abortion, but this is a huge step.
With around half of U.S. states expected to ban abortions, their residents who wish to get an abortion will have to travel to so-called sanctuary states. Only people with means will be able to afford traveling. It has also sparked concerns for pregnant people in emergency situations. What's more, legislators in states like Missouri are already weighing on legislation that would make it harder or even illegal to travel or help people cross state lines for an abortion. A gunman has opened fire in the Norwegian capital, Oslo, killing 2 people and wounding 21. Police arrested a man and charged him with murder and terrorism. 3 locations in Oslo's nightlife area were targeted shortly after midnight. One was a gay bar. The shooting prompted the city to cancel its annual Gay Pride Parade, which had been scheduled for today. The government condemned the attack, saying the victims were innocent people. For decades, a family in the United States has been organizing pig races at fairs across the country to bring home the bacon. The unlikely contestants have proved to be a big crowd puller.
The pigs actually race for a cream-filled cookie. So we use what we call a bait and reward system. We don't chase the pigs. The pigs don't run after anything like at a dog track. They're not chasing a bunny rabbit down. We don't have jockeys. So they know the first one that gets there is going to get the treat.
These pot-bellied pigs may not set the track on fire, but fans love them. It's left to ordinary farm pigs to provide the thrill of a race. They can't be accused of hogging the limelight as they dash enthusiastically around the track to try and beat their rivals to the feeding trough. Finally, the weather. Tomorrow will be fine and very hot with the temperature between 28 and 33 degrees. It will remain hot in the early part of the week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Good night.